So after all of this, the question is, do I have pretty privilege? Scientifically, a good majority don't. Stay tuned. Haire. Thank you guys so much for your support. A lot of views for the uglies video, so thank you guys so much on that. So today's basically overview of today's episode is we're going to be talking about basically scientifical symmetry in your face, and then we're going to be talking about the Manon effect. Basically, she is one of the lovely ladies from Cat's Eye, and how her using her pretty privilege to her advantage led to her success. And then I also have my final thoughts on just how people apply pretty privilege on a daily basis. So first things first, let's talk about facial harmony. Facial harmony is someone who you instantly find attractive. Now, of course, you know, with certain preconceived notions about skin tones, there's only certain ceilings that you're going to be able to break through, but in general, most people have a general idea of what they seem or who they deem as attractive, correct? So a couple of examples here. I have Kelly Rowland, Aaron Pierre from Rebel Ridge, Sundara Park from 21, and then I have it basically down here that facial harmony is scientifically what your occipital lobe deems as attractive. Your occipital lobe is basically responsible for how your eyes basically process and diagnose images on a daily basis. So for example, certain features, I'll use myself as an example, certain features, if you write them down, they sound crazy. Like for example, I have hooded almond eyes, I have a big nose, big lips, kind of high cheekbones, kind of low forehead. You write that down, if you draw me, I sound crazy. But because it's been placed, like with my face, because certain features have been placed perfectly, it results in me having pretty privilege. For example, as well with Holly Bailey, I keep saying her name wrong. With her too, she looks like a siren to me, but she has a little bit further separation of her eyes, you know, higher forehead, but also like, you know, full lips, but like a smaller nose. So if you draw that, it look crazy, but because of her features, they end up adding up. The math is mathing on that, right? So that's why I was able to use facial symmetry tests to tell if, like, back to Pop Star Academy, I did the review on that. I already knew off rip before Adela and Emily were presented to the public. I already knew they weren't going to be well received, because me personally, Adela's heart, God, stop pressing print on those people. Like she has such a good heart, like such a good spirit. You can tell it's genuine. And then Emily as well, just so talented, like just like a tough worker, like a hard worker. But both of them have facial irregularities, you know. So I wasn't surprised that they weren't well received, or they didn't receive high voltage, because like I said, like looking at I wouldn't say cast, but looking at the finality of who they chose to put in Cat's Eye, like everybody there passes the facial harmony test. So basically everybody's like, yes, they have different features, and you know, wider, smaller, bigger eyes, circular, like more rounder eyes, smaller lips, full lips, but like all of it comes together to make sense. And that's not to sit there and denigrate their talent, but I really feel like there was a lot of pretty privilege applied when voting, and also a lot of pretty privilege applied when selecting the final few, which I can understand. I'll put that more in my review towards the end at the 10-minute mark. I can understand that aspect because you're putting money into it, but the ethos behind that leaves me a little worried that you're so pressed about how somebody looks and how somebody comes off on camera. And I also have on here with facial, just to wrap up facial symmetry. I know that, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but why does everybody, and this has nothing to do with popularity, but like, why does everybody find the same people attractive? Okay. It's because the facial symmetry. So I have on here Manon effect, Manon event. Basically, Manon is a perfect example. Manon, I might be saying her name wrong, sorry. But she's a perfect example of, I would say she's a perfect example of someone who has pretty privilege. And that doesn't mean that she's not talented at all. Like I said, as a content creator, it's like another job. It's like another job that doesn't pay, like you're an intern pretty much for all of your social media until they start paying out. So I feel like there is that aspect that she is a hard worker to post, but like I do feel like a majority of it is from her having pretty privilege. I have on here that the halo effect of pretty privilege as well is that when she first came onto the show, which like I said, like regardless of what happened, because we weren't there, they edited 2 years into 8 episodes, which is amazing because I couldn't be able to do that. But there was a bit of expectation. Like when you have pretty privilege, like I feel like there's a bit of expectation there that since she has pretty privilege, she's gonna be a good person who's gonna show up and do her work and da-da-da. So I feel like she was punished more. And I feel like she was punished more because she's so good looking. Like I feel like she was definitely punished more because they were like, well, you're supposed to be a good person. You're supposed to be a good person. You're supposed to come on here and do everything like that you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to have tired days or lazy days or goof off days. You're supposed to be perfect. You're good looking. You have all these followers, you know, like I feel like there was a lot of pressure placed in that aspect, and that side I can coincide with her from, because like as someone who has pretty privilege as well, like there's certain days where I don't want to be on. I don't want to be on, you know, but I have to be, if that makes any sense. And I feel like a lot of people watch you and that does psychologically get to you. So, you know, I had that aspect on there as well. I feel like too, like with the ranking, like throughout the competition, she never dropped below top 10. I don't even think she dropped below top 5 because she was ranked so high because she's good looking and she already had those followers. She already had her followers as well. So they've already been experienced her beauty. So now there's validation with it because now she's on this popular show. She's under Hive labels, which is one of the biggest Korean labels. Honestly, almost pretty much one of the biggest, you know, they're basically in charge of BTS. They're one of the biggest labels ever, just to date. Like out of Seoul, one of the biggest ones, almost globally, one of the biggest music record deal that you could ever sign. So for them to get that, like now it's just like, okay, well, she was already attractive, so now we get vindication for supporting her. I feel like that Manon effect of basically you saw someone who had somebody personally come and scout them. That's number one. There's special treatment right there. And then number two, you had someone basically come in with everybody pretty much to get into Dream Academy. Everybody had to basically have a minimum B+, and she came in pretty much as an F. Like she had no background and no personal training, but like that pretty privilege was pretty much the equalizer. Like it pretty much gave her that boost, and for her to be able to not even, I wouldn't say before mediocre, because like I said, like the fact that you can get up there and perform in front of people you don't know, like that will always give you kudos for that. But I do feel like there was a certain portion of it, the fact that she got rated so highly because of the fact that her fans didn't play. She already had a platform of 2-3 million, I don't know, people on TikTok, and they just ran and like voted. And these are like actual fans, not people who just watch her to hate. Like these are people who would pretty much lay their life on the line for her. And I feel like there is an aspect of that also can work against you, because when you have such facial chemistry, they expect you to maintain that. You can't gain weight. You can't gain weight. You can't have pimples or acne. You have to make sure your hair is always on point. You have to present as attractive at all times. So I feel like with the Manon effect, like it really showed, like if you have a big following on TikTok, you can do whatever you want. You can join a girl group with less experience. You can be on the cover of Vogue magazine. You can be front row at a fashion show that people pay thousands to. You can go to the Met Gala. Like literally in TikTok, most people trust now, because like if you have that big following, they're just like, okay, if they can get that and maintain that and have those people, then definitely for sure. But yeah, with her, Manon definitely a person who I would say has high facial chemistry. So my overall opinion about this is that humans are shallow. All right. They are. I think we all are. And I feel like the fact that they let someone like Adela, which she was tall enough because, you know, they had the 5'6", 5'7" girls and at Cat's Eye, but the fact that they let Adela go was heartbreaking for me, because I feel like we're missing the Adelas of the world. And this is not to just hype her up. Like I said, like I definitely, if I knew about the show last year, I would have definitely voted for Manon because she's Black presenting. Let's keep it a buck. But Adela's personality, like she sat there and trained all the girls and didn't think twice about, okay, well, I'm going to get eliminated. I already see my votes are low. What's the point of doing it? But she still trained the other girls. Like, it's like stuff like that gets you recommended. People want to work with you because you're easy to work with. Okay. So I don't know. I think that that aspect was also pretty dope, that, they still recognize that, okay, yes, she never told people no, and she was always helping. Like, I feel like that aspect was pretty dope. But overall, humans are shallow. Okay. So I kind of knew, and I was pretty much right. If you watch my review, I was pretty much right. I already knew who they're going to pick. I did. Like, just from watching, like, I feel like I was a little bit more misconstrued when they were like at the top 20. I couldn't really tell. But once they got to the top 10, I was like, oh, the ones with the highest facial chemistry is going to win. And I was right. Okay. All right. I have on here, personality. I have on here, personality is becoming a thing of the past. I feel like if you're a unique person and you have your own train of thought, and you have your own train of thought, like you have your own mindset, be careful. Okay. I've had it happen in my own life where I could tell somebody, it's different when like someone sees you doing something like, oh my God, I got motivation from you. But it's a whole completely different obstacle when you see there someone is blatantly, okay, stay with me, they're blatantly copying you, you know. And I feel like there wasn't any prep for that, because I like when you have a unique personality, like you always thought that, okay, well, if my personality is so unique, other people have their personality, they're going to do that. No, they will copy you. They will press copy you, and then they will try to act like they didn't get the idea from you. It's very scary. I've seen it in real life. It's happened to me a couple of times. So it's just, there's something very much, it's kind of scary, you know, but just know personality, having your own unique personality is a thing of the past. Because like when you say things that, when you critically think and you say things that not everybody else is thinking, you will get a lot of pushback. Okay. You're going to get a lot of pushback. There's a lot, you get a lot of pushback. There's a lot of people that do not want you to think differently, because then they have to actually question their own morals. So, I don't know. I just feel like having your own personality, just be careful. Looks wise too, people will try to copy your look as well. I have on here that if your social media following is big, it doesn't matter anymore. Like nothing matters. It doesn't matter if you're talented. It doesn't matter if you've been working hard. Like once you get a big social media following, like nothing matters anymore. And that was something I wasn't ready for, because like I said, back in the day, like I still listen to like older songs, because back in the day, like when I would listen to somebody sing, like for example, In Vogue, I listened to a live version of In Vogue. I was literally heartbroken, and not for what you think. Like I was heartbroken because there's so many people who are on the radio who do not belong on there, because In Vogue could hold it down. Like each member, like it was a group project where everybody would be judged individually. Like you can ask any member from In Vogue to sing and they would tear it down. They would tear down the house. Now it's like, if you ask some of these new artists, and it's not me hating because I'm an old head, late 1900s, but if you ask some of these new artists to give you a freestyle or have one of these new artists sing like a cappella, like they wouldn't even know what to do. Like it's so scary that what is being pushed into our ears is mediocrity now. Like like as an artist myself, like I'm not a singer, but like as an artist myself, it sucks to see because there is a certain level that you just get tired, you know, you just get tired, you get burnt out because there's something almost debilitating about seeing people who don't have talent keep getting pushed to the front, because a lot of people who also, no offense, are not talented are pushing them to the front as a representative. Like, I feel like if you're truly talented, you intimidate a lot of people. Like, I'm talking about like fully talented, like Vanessa, I'm sorry. There's something like that, like, I don't know, Victoria Monet is a perfect example of like someone who's like just mind-bogglingly talented and she is not getting the coverage I want her to get. It hurts. It hurts to watch. Like, it's literally like watching your friend go back to her man who does not treat her right. Like, there's plenty of people who would treat you right, but you're going back to that, but you keep going back to this person. Like, that's how I feel with the radio. Like, there's so many talented artists out there, but yet y'all keep going back to the same people who don't matter, who don't make any sense. Okay, but that's the topic for another day. But definitely just want to talk about facial chemistry today. You can put in your comments too of who you seem as who you think has pretty privilege and who you don't think has pretty privilege. But I promise you, majority of the time when you think of like the finest person you know, I promise you their facial chemistry is on point. I promise you that. But don't forget to subscribe, share. It's Claire Haire.